I think there's something about our backgrounds and our communities that attract us so much to art and spoken word, just to share our stories. So I feel like that's our biggest platforms, just like the streets are our biggest platforms, because that's what we know. So I think just because that's something that we're familiarized with, and yeah, it's just our biggest platform.
George, what was one of the experiences that you've had with using the art in the civic engagement setting recently?
We went to the park, and I got a chance to help out people express their knowledge about some different topics on a small poll or post. There was another kid, and I feel like I helped him out a lot, not only with just his art, but I gave him another view on school and why he should prioritize it more than just having fun. There was a couple cops that I talked to, and I got to look at their viewpoints, and they got to look at mine.
We should pause right there. How many of you dialogue with the law enforcement? Just how many feel comfortable dialoguing with law enforcement right now? If police came into this room and sat down in that chair right there, how would you feel engaging in that conversation?
I would be tense. I feel like I would. I don't know. I just like, I don't want to talk too much, but like the point of police officers and law enforcement is supposed to make us feel safe, but I literally never feel safe around. Like, I feel less safe when there's cops around.
And why is that? If anybody can speak to this, like, just join in. Like, anybody else have anything to say about that? First one? Yeah, go ahead. You say, yeah.
So if I was like this, that police officer, oh, the setup so straight. I don't looking like I'll be still. Probably not breathing either. But like Irie said, you're supposed to make it safe, and honestly, I'm not safe around any of them. So if I was supposed to engage in conversation, it would be minimum. Okay, thank you. That's a great idea. I agree with everything that they're saying, even if sometimes it's wrong. I feel like if I had to make a point and they thought it was wrong or something, I'd probably be in trouble.
And that's so. To speak to that, these posts that you see around here, I don't know if you know, half of them were in dialogue with law enforcement. We sat down at a youth summit, and so half of those posts, specifically when all voices are heard, and look at the words on that next time you go back. And that's a compassion arts post right there in solidarity with Black Lives Matter, and that one a memorial post. Art created a balanced conversation. We created a balanced conversation that we could speak to these issues, talking to law enforcement about Black Lives Matter, and sharing why all lives matter and Blues Lives Matter is a direct rebuttal to Black Lives Matter. We were able to convey those messages to the Los Angeles Police Department. So what happens is that we create a balanced conversation, and we work on destigmatizing the Black and brown youth and the intimidation factor of law enforcement. And the council members have to come in and have a different space. And you spoke to that. Again, you were able to talk to the cops, right? And you were making mini posts with the cops. They were painting, and you were showing them how to do that, right? Mm-hmm. What does that do? Immediately, can anybody speak to what that may have done to the cop?
Well, especially like a lot of these cops are white people, straight up. So when they have a personal connection with someone who's African American, immediately their perspective on that is changed. The next time they go up, put their gun up to someone who's African American, they think back to you. They think back to creating that art and that creating and being creative with that person, because immediately that connection is created with you. And I don't know, like for me, like especially with my family, having to educate them on things like this, everything matters, everything counts. Having my boyfriend speak to them and creating those connections and having those personal connections with them, I would think that they would think back to you and those connections that they had with you. So.
That's true. That's one thing. And another point, go ahead.
I agree. So actually in Stockton, since we are part of the Teen Leadership Council, we have a police representative. He attends all the CAB meetings, Community Advisory Board. He sits at all those meetings, as well as like our center coordinator. And recently, I believe that they were talking a lot about Black Lives Matter, and they had somebody that, like a former Black Panther member, talk at their meeting. And so I'm not 100% like an expert on like what's going on with the police in Stockton, but I do know that some of them, they'll say one thing and seem as if they're trying to be open, that they're trying to hear us. They'll say it, but then they'll do the opposite, and it's that that doesn't. They try to build the trust. We have a lot of, at the Teen Impact Center, we have a lot of those activities with Stockton Police Department to try and help those relationships grow. But to me, it just seems like it depends on the cop, but sometimes they'll hear you, and they'll hear like your struggle, and they'll hear like how, like the perspective of being like a young colored person up against like a white cop, and then they'll still go and do those things that we're talking about that are that we feel unsafe with.